Welcome back to a course on calculus, that is multivariable calculus. We are discussing topic of multiple integrals. In this integral, we are going to talk about multiple double integrals. Actually, double integrals in polar form, polar coordinates. So double integrals in polar coordinates. Yeah. So here in our discussion, we have been discussing about the polar integrals of the form. This one. Hope you can see my laser pointer. Double integrals of this form. This is the thing that we are dealing about. R is sum of the region that is shown in figure 1. Suppose we have something of this sort. In a general region, we can talk. We have discussed in the previous section that in a general region we can do the double integration. That is what we have seen in the previous section. We are actually extending this idea to a specific case. Actually, like what we are about to discuss for some particular case. That is, whenever we have some region which is shown in this way, that is some circular regions. If circular regions are given, we are not able to approximate them by rectangles. It is easy for us to represent them in a polar coordinate so that we can do the things easily, right? What do you mean by polar coordinates? Here you may refer figure 2. Here you may very well notice that a point xy, okay, a point in a plane xy shall also be represented as r and theta, where r is given by this one x square plus y square, and theta is what, tan inverse of y upon x. That is, you can just make a substitution that x is equal to r cos theta and y is equal to x is equal to r cos theta and y is equal to r sin theta. With this substitution, you can convert your x and y into r and theta. So from these two things, if you have to get what your theta is, you can make use of r sin theta upon r cos theta is what? Simply y upon x. So it is simply tan theta as y upon x. So this shall be written as theta as tan inverse of y upon x. And we know r is, so from this r shall be written as square root of x squared plus y squared, positive square root. So we are actually converting the rectangular coordinates, this region R, from Cartesian coordinates to polar coordinates. Cartesian coordinates are also called as rectangular coordinates. Right? We are converting this way. If you notice here, your radius varies from 0 to 1. Okay, your theta varies from 0 to 2 pi. Here, if you note, if you come to this, that is figure 1b, your radius starts with 1. So this is 1 and this is 2. Okay, this is 2 units. So your r varies from 1 to 2, whereas your theta varies from 0 to pi. Okay, so the regions, they are special forms of polar rectangle. Okay, let us see what do we mean by a polar rectangle. A rectangle of this form. Okay, in figure 3, what we have is a polar rectangle. How to find out the area of this polar rectangle? So that we are going to see for sure. Now hope you have the idea of what polar rectangles are, right? Here your theta varies from alpha to beta, and your r varies from a to b. So such type of regions are represented using this. Your r varies from a to b and theta varies from alpha to beta. So we write this way. We subdivide this polar rectangle into a smaller polar rectangles. Okay, how are we going to do it? We subdivide this interval a comma b into n subintervals, and subdivide this interval alpha comma beta into n subintervals, and finally in the Riemann sum, we have the Riemann sum, right? In the Riemann sum, we'll make our m and n goes to infinity. So here we'll have to talk about the small changes, that is delta r and delta theta. So these things are written like this. So with which we can write the smaller polar rectangle in this form, and the center is the arithmetic mean of these two endpoints, that is ri minus 1 plus ri upon 2. This is going to be the r coordinate, and similarly for the theta coordinate. Okay, how are we going to write down the area of this rectangle? In order to find the area, that is the actually it is something like, so you have something like this, right? In order to find this, what we do is first we calculate the total area, that is without considering this one, we calculate the total area, then we calculate this area. From the total area we subtract this one, so we can get the required area of the polar triangle, sorry, polar rectangle. This is how we do things. So that way this is written. So from here you can take half outside, and actually from this you take half outside and delta theta outside. So you are left with ri square minus r I minus 1 square, that is in the form of a square minus b square. Hence we may write it as a plus b multiplied with a minus b. So this is the central coordinate. So we rewrite it, and this is what sorry, what I have said is wrong. This is this part becomes what? This is the central coordinate ri star. Okay, and this part is the difference in the r value. So that is delta r. In the smaller polar rectangle we are talking these things. So it is delta r. So your delta a is going to be ri star delta r delta theta, right? So when you write things in a Riemann sum form, initially what we have is Riemann sum for the two variable cases. Summation I runs from 1 to m, summation j runs from 1 to n. It is f of xi comma yj. So this is what we usually have. So x is replaced with r cos theta, and y is replaced with r sin theta. So in the place of x we are going to have r cos theta and r sin theta. Okay, here the summation is changed for r sin theta, that is why we have ri and theta j with the corresponding area. This is how things gets changed, right? So you have calculated what is delta ai. We substitute that value, and finally we write this r multiplied with, that is r multiplied with f of xy. What is x? It is actually what is r? It is under root x square plus y square. This quantity we write it as f r times of f r cos theta r sin theta, and we take this quantity to be some function g of r comma theta. We take this way, we define this way. So this becomes like this. We have converted our Riemann sum like this, and if you integrate this one, it is same as that of getting this one, right? And when you make your m and n approaches infinity, you are getting your summation to be an integral, and that is what is given here. So whatever is the given r, from which we'll have to identify the a and b values, alpha and beta value, then the integration follows, right? When you convert something from a rectangular coordinate to a polar coordinate, make sure that you have this additional r. Along with the function, your x is changed to r cos theta, y is changed to r sin theta, but this dA, usually in Cartesian coordinates, your dA is replaced with dx dy or dy dx, whereas in polar coordinates it is r times of dr d theta. This r is coming extra, that we have to remember, right? How we are getting this r extra, that we have seen. So with which we'll get into problems now. So we are asked to evaluate this integral where r is the region in the upper half plane. So when you try to plot, okay, let me show these things. Hope you can plot the circles, right? So I am coming to actually a two-dimensional thing. Let me show you, and Let us move to three-dimensional then. So the first one is x squared plus y squared is 1. This is 1. Okay. Then is x squared plus y squared is 4, I hope. So this is the given information, I suppose. Yeah. So this region bounded between these two circles. Therefore, just a minute. Yeah. Let me add a new slide and yes, hope you can see now. So this the common region between these two circles in the upper half plane. So only this part of the circles are to be considered. Okay, when you take things like this, your only one part can be viewed here. So in this way, you will have something here too. Maybe this one goes like this. Okay, we cannot exactly plot three-dimensional things in two dimension. Okay, so this is how only the upper half. So upper half means what? Positive x-axis and positive y-axis. Okay, so positive y-axis has to be there. X may go in negative as well. So if we take this as x and this as y, so this is what we are going to have. This is our negative x. Okay, so this is how we have some common region, and in the common region we have 3x plus 4y squared. How is it going to behave? So yes, it behaves like this. Let me come to home screen. So here this red line is here. Okay, let us go back. Let us paste this one also and see what is happening over there. So sorry, let me add one more new slide. Yeah, so here you may very well notice that this is your x-axis. Okay, this is your y and this is your z if I'm not wrong. So we'll have to bring those things inside. So that is what your xy. So if this is your xy, in the positive sense alone you are considering. So this way you are considering the region. Okay, this is actually lying on the plane. So the common region bounded by these things, this is what we are going to calculate. So here we are not doing things with Cartesian coordinates. We are going to convert these things into rectangular coordinates. Since we are asked to consider only in the upper half of the plane. So from this to this, so 0 to pi. Your theta value lie between 0 to pi. Okay, r value. So r is what? It is under root x square plus y square. So x square plus y square is 1 and is 4, which means under root 1 is 1 and under root 4 is 2. So your r value lie between 1 and 2. Your this region is converted to what now? R is the collection of points r theta with 0 less than or equals theta less than or equals pi and 1 less than or equals r and less than or equals 2. Now this integral becomes, what is x? Your x is r cos theta, y is r sin theta. We are just making these substitutions. Once we substitute this one and your dA becomes what? R dr d theta. Inner we have the r limit and the outer we have, this is for r and this is for theta. We substitute these things and we multiply this r inside, that is why it becomes 3r squared cos theta plus 4r cube sin square theta, and the sin square theta is split as half times of 1 minus cos 2 theta. Actually we'll have to do this, but when we integrate with respect to theta, then it is enough to do this one. So this is Done at this step. Here we are just integrating with respect to r and substituting the limits, and the rest follows. Okay. The next problem, we are asked to find the volume of a solid bounded by the plane z is equal to 0. So hope okay, let me draw in a simpler way. This is our x, this is our y, and this is our z. So z is equal to 0. So where is your z value 0? On the xy plane. Okay, this is only the first quadrant of xy plane. X and y are in positive sense. You may visualize these things. You can imagine and visualize your entire xy plane. And this paraboloid 1 minus x squared minus y squared. If you try and plot this one, yeah. So here is where we are going to plot this. So this kind of paraboloid from z-axis it is going downwards. Yeah, and your xy plane is this one, the shaded, the gray colored one. So actually, if you look at it in the origin or something like this, you are going to have this. Only the line cutting this part, only the upper half of this plot is the thing that we take, and that volume we'll have to find. So how are we going to do it? Okay, here also you may very well in your x-axis you have the circle which is there completely. So therefore your theta lie between 0 to 2 pi. Okay, this is a circle. Okay, and if you notice very well here, your z is 0, right? So whenever your z is 0, this is 0. This very well tells you that your x square plus y squared is 1. So it is coming from here. So here the values, it is a single point. So here the value is going to be 0. To the maximum it is coming till 1. So it means what? Your R value lie between 0 and 1. Right? If you are exactly have some circular region, the radius is your R value. So you can easily convert these things here. And this one we shall write it as 1 minus of x squared plus y squared. We may write this way as well. So x squared plus y squared value is r squared, right? So we just replace things up and do the integration here. If you multiply your r inside, it becomes r minus r cube. Here r and theta are independent, no terms are involved with both the terms. So we split theta and r separately and do the integration. Finally we get this one. What if we proceed the same problem with rectangular coordinates? So we have this one. Here we shall notice that what y ranges, actually your y ranges from minus 1 of minus under root 1 minus x squared to under root 1 minus x squared. So when you give this substitution, when you integrate with respect to y and give this substitution, you are in a need to find out this integral. This involves many time. Okay, this involves some time to calculate than this. That is why we prefer to convert things into a polar coordinates whenever we encounter something with circle, something related to circle. Now we till now we have considered some regions which are easy to handle. Now we have some complicated regions like like the ones that we have seen as type 2 regions in the previous section. It is something you can see a figure. You can consider figure 7. It is some quite complicated region. Here you may very well notice that your theta ranges in something and your r ranges differently. It is some function of theta because it is not okay, just a minute. It is not moving in a uniform path. You may notice that it is moving something like this. So your r value depends on theta. Similarly, here also your r value depends on theta. So such type of things, how are we going to handle it. That is what we are going to see now. So if your function is continuous in a polar region, which is given like this, then your integral, okay, so in the place of r, you are going to have, there you have fixed values, here you are just going to have functions of theta, right? If you are asked to find out some area of the shape, you just do the double integration to dA. That is the smallest polar rectangle area. Just sum them up. So it is very infinitesimal small, which means it is very small. When you add these things together, that is going to give you the entire area. Adding very small things is the concept of integration. So this one we can remember and do things, right? Now we are asked to find out the double integral to find the, actually we are asked to use the double integral to find the area enclosed by one loop of the four leaved rows. R is equal to cos 2 theta. So actually to plot this, what I am going to use is that you may write your R to be under root x squared plus y squared and theta to be tan inverse of y upon x. So this may be written as r squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. So this is the ideology by which I have plotted these things that I am going to show you now. So right, so this is what we actually have, and we'll have to find out the area of one particular thing. Okay, so let me come back to this and let me paste this here. Yes, so we are asked to find out the area, so we shall decide what to check now. Okay, you may identify these things and find this area. This is your theta variation, or you may do this one and find this area. So once you find only this part, you can just multiply with 4 to get the total area. Okay, here you may see that if you are going this way from here to here, it is pi by 4, pi by 2, then pi, 3 pi by 2, like this you will have to come. But here this is the thing that we are going to see. So if this is the 0 line, if this is pi by 4, we can consider this as minus pi by 4. So no issues in that, right? Hence your D, here your theta ranges from minus pi by 4 to pi by 4. Here when you come here, when you come here, it is cos 2 theta value. What is theta? So it is pi by 4. Be it pi by 4 or minus pi by 4, you are going to have actually 2 times of pi by 4 is pi by 2, so it is going to be 0, or minus pi by 2, this is also going to be 0. So here you may very well notice that it is when you give in between something, okay, in between something, in the sense this is behaving this way. Okay, and you may try and plot this one using some computer tools, and so here your R value lie between 0 to cos 2 theta. Okay, it is not actually a circular path, but similar to curves. That is why we are converting things into polar form. So we are asked to find out the area. So what you have to do, you just area over the given thing. Okay, dA is what? R times of dr d theta. Here your R, first here you cannot split things. R and theta are independent, so I am splitting things. That you cannot do here because limit of your R varies in theta, which means what? First you will have to do for R and then to theta. So when can we split things up? When R and theta are not interrelated inside the integral. Only when your limits are finite values. Here it is not so. That is why we are going step by step, and we get this value to be pi upon 8. Okay, so this is quite straightforward problem, and when you have cos square theta, you may write this to be half times of 1 plus cos 2 theta. So instead of theta we have 2 theta, that is why it is half times of actually this one splits to be minus pi by 4 to pi by 4. So half times of 1 plus cos, in the place of theta we have 2 theta, so 2 multiplied with 2, it is 4 theta d theta. So we take this 1 upon 2 outside, so this becomes 1 upon 4 integral over the given limit 1 plus cos 4 theta, and we just integrate it and substitute the limits and see the value is pi upon 8, right? The next problem that we are going to see is this one. Here we are asked to find out the volume of a solid that lies under the paraboloid. So the paraboloid, hope I'll just highlight things. So the ones that I am highlighting in yellow color, this is the paraboloid that they are talking about. So hope you people can visualize these things in 3 dimension. And under this paraboloid, and then what? Inside the cylinder, x square plus y square is equal to 2x. So the ones that I am highlighting in green color is the cylinder that they are talking about, right? And they have also said above the xy plane. So when you see things in 3 dimension and above the xy plane means only the positive z axis. So this is the region that we have to consider, right? So the region covered by these things is some solid, and the solid volume of the solid, that is what we have to find. So we are given that x squared plus y squared equals to x. We just bring this 2x this side. So this is something like this. Now we add 1 on both the sides so that the equation remains unaltered. Now combining these things, we shall write x plus 1 whole square plus y square is equal to 1. So if you plot this one in a graph, you may very well see that it is the circle with center 1 comma 0 and radius 1. So this is a circle with center 1 comma 0 and radius 1. So we have found this. Based on the circle only, we have found this cylinder. So it is above this region, right? So that we have to remember. Okay, fine. Next, if you come back, we are given that this is we know this one, x square plus y square is equal to r square, and x is equal to r cos theta. When you put this thing, x square plus y square is equal to 2x. So what is this? Is r square, and this is 2 times of r cos theta. So when you cancel things up, you are going to get r is equal to 2 cos theta. So your r is going to vary from 0 to 2 cos theta. R can never go below 0, right? R here physically means the radius, so it can never go below 0. So it is going to vary from 0 to 2 cos theta. And the theta is done as usual. Okay, so if you come back and see, in the positive sense it is taken, so minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 is the theta value. So using this, we just do substitute things here, x square plus y square, which is going to be r squared, and dA is r dr d theta, and we have things like this, and we just integrate with respect to r initially, and then integrating with respect to theta. Then here we have cos power 4 theta. How are we going to do it? So cos square theta shall be written as 1 by 2 times of 1 plus cos 2 theta. So we just do it and then square it. Okay, so here you are going to have again, when you do things like this, you will have what, 8 integral 0 to pi by 2. So 1 upon 4, 1 plus 2 cos 2 theta plus cos square 2 theta. So this is what you are going to have, and this 4 and this gets cancelled. So you are having 2 here. So 1 plus 2 cos theta plus this cos square is again split like this. right? And then do the integration and you get this value. So with which we have come to the end of our discussion on double integrals. In the upcoming lecture, we are going to talk the applications of this one in calculating the surface area. Thank you.